This isn't getting rid of copywriters in the slightest. Like, what it's doing is, for the smart copywriters out there, the smart marketers, they're going to be able to use this tool to greatly, a couple different things, but greatly increase the speed in which they can create things. That was the first thing, my first kind of eureka moment was like, I can do so much more, so much faster, because I'm cutting out a lot of the legwork in the copywriting, which is staring at the blank page and wondering what the heck I'm going to write about.
This is The Fighting Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs looking to change the world. Learn how to start, build, and scale a business in today's highly competitive business environment. Here's your host, The Fighting Entrepreneur, Anik Singal.
What's up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? How's it going? Listen, this is your favorite person in the whole wide world, Anik Singal. I'm doing something really different today. It's going to be fun. We're going to have I've never done this on this podcast. We're going to just have a discussion. Go figure, right? That a podcast, I've never had like a conversation with anybody. It's always so specific, like, let's go achieve this goal right now. Well, today I've got a good friend, brilliant copywriter with me, and we're going to have a little healthy debate. And it's about, this is the question we're going to answer. Can robots really write high converting copy? Now, anyone who knows me knows I love copywriting. And it's my love, it's my passion. I'm very good at it. I like teaching it. And now I'm sitting here saying, can robots write copy? Shoot, am I about to be out of a job, or all of us about to be out of a job? I don't know. Let's see. I can tell you, I think that they can get us quite a bit of the way there. So here's the other thing that's going to happen on this podcast that's very different. Typically, you listen to my podcast, I'm not very promotional. This one, I'm super promotional. I'm going to throw a bunch of URLs at you, and I want you to take action on them because you're going to have fun. It's fun. So first and foremost, lurnworkshop.com, LURN workshop.com/robot. I know it's a bit of a mouthful. LURNworkshop.com/robot. If you're on YouTube right now, bam, it's in the description below. By the way, click subscribe, click thumbs up, like button, leave a comment, blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay. Why? Because we're going to actually play with a robot that writes copy live on a webinar. It's going to be fun. You're going to love it. It's eye-opening, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, awesome. At the end of it, I'm going to sell you something. You have never seen me sell anything so freaking cheap on a webinar. Here, look, I'm being transparent with you. I'm telling you everything that's coming up. I'm going to have a massive bonus stack, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to have a lot of fun. So there you go. That's for transparency. But do show up. It's really fun to watch this robot write copy. It's awesome. Lurnworkshop.com/robot. Here's another URL I want to throw your way. 2 more URLs before we get into the podcast, and you'll see how they work in and what I'm doing. This one's going to make you laugh. Are you ready? You're going to go to the URL just because of the URL itself. It's willworkforcars.com. willworkforcars.com. Again, it's in the description if you're on YouTube. What the heck is Anik talking about? I will work for cars. If you're going to add a car to my collection, I'll work for it. If you want to see me planning this entire promotion from behind the scenes that I'm doing right now to build up some continuity income while having fun, while delivering tremendous value, go there. There's a video. You can see a picture and a video of the car I just bought, and I'm trying to pay for it now. By the way, you should probably pay for stuff before you buy it, but anyways. All of it's being run through my InsideMyHead.com Facebook group as well. So InsideMyHead.com, go sign up for the newsletter. There we go. Wow, that was a lot of promo stuff. It'll make sense why I did it. I want to introduce to you my good friend, copywriting brilliant genius marketer, Sean Vosler. He's here today. Here's the deal. This guy starts posting stuff a few weeks or a couple months ago about robots writing copy. I've heard about all of this, and I have ignored every bit of it. I have not even dared to try it. I've been that much ignoring it. But then Sean starts talking about it. Now, I know Sean. I know 2 things about Sean. 1 is he is not stupid. 2, he has really nice hair. And both of those give him a lot of qualifications. So I said, if Sean likes it, I'm going to go look at it. And I did. And I was blown away. So today, Sean is here with us. We're going to have a conversation. Can robots write copy? So Sean, thanks so much for being here, man. I've literally never done this. 250 or so episodes. I've never had like just a banter conversation podcast. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So Sean, I'll throw it right at you, man. What do you think? Can robots write copy?
That is a good question, Anik, and pleasure to be here. This will be a fun discussion because I had the same kind of reaction you did when I first was introduced to this concept. I think anybody who's been online for a while has seen these kind of like fill in the blank type copywriting tools, right? Like you put in the name of the product and its benefits, and it'll kind of do like a Mad Libs type thing where it makes an email or a sales page. So the tool we're talking about today it isn't that. And when I was introduced to it, I actually ignored the first message I got about it because it's like, I've seen all these. I'm not all that interested in looking at another, for lack of a better term, like Mad Libs copywriter generator, right? But then another buddy of mine reached out who I really respect. And this is kind of how these things go, right? Like we're both busy. We're both, knee deep in our keyboards, writing copy a lot. But then I got another message about it, like, hey man, like seriously, you should check this out. And this was one from one of the top media buyers in the United States. So I was like, okay, I'll take a look. Like I got nothing to lose, So he reached out. Then I got looking into it because I'm a healthy skeptic. I think just like anybody, right? Like these kinds of tools, what can they do? And tell me kind of where you came from, Anik, looking at tools like this. We'll put them in the two different categories here. The old school, like kind of fill in the blank ones, and then this new kind of tool we're talking about here. You're probably like me as well, where it's like it doesn't encapsulate the finesse that goes into a lot of the copywriting stuff that we do. Was that kind of where you were running too? Is like it can't do this bottom.
Here's my thing, right? Like it's every copy, every email, everything is different. I might run two campaigns promoting the same product, but they're different. Like how can AI or how can a robot, and whenever we say robot, everybody, we mean artificial intelligence. How can artificial intelligence know that aspect? Was my biggest issue, right? So yeah, finesse, the transitions, the smoothness of it from one topic to another. I mean, you can't just scour the internet, pick 5 things and clump them together and make it make sense. Like that's what I've seen so far from the robotic artificial intelligence copywriting and things. And that's why, by the way, I've never gotten into it. Like I've never run a webinar like the one that you and I are running because I don't think it's worth the time of my team for my people for the most part. Now I want to be very fair. There's at least one really good software out there that I have promoted in the past that's fill in the blank types, and I really like it. I think it's really good for those who are just getting started. You're not going to see me ever go into it and use it. But this other one that you and I have been kind of playing with, like, yeah, I do. It's nice. It kind of gives you a start. So you're right. It's just a finesse, transition, smoothness issue for me.
Yeah, and this is where I got excited because I got into this tool, and we'll keep it kind of masked for now. I think on the actual webinar we're going to unveil it and all this stuff.
Super masked. I'm not telling anybody, which I never do on my webinar, everybody. I mean, I never do this on the podcast, but this time, I don't know. I just want you on the webinar, so I'm not going to reveal the tool on the podcast.
Well, and what I found to be interesting about it is the way it works. It works with the technology out there that it's been out for a couple of years, but recently big companies like Microsoft just invested millions of dollars into this foundation. It's an open source tool, but you have to train it it's an open source AI tool, but you have to train it to do certain things. It's kind of like a puppy, when you first get it, it doesn't know any tricks, but you can teach it, to be a drug dog or a CNI dog, right? So this technology, what companies have been doing it is to train it to do all kinds of different things. And what's happening on the copywriting side is there's companies out there who are getting really smart about teaching it the frameworks that you and I have been reading about for the last, they've been around for 150 years, like AIDA and PASS and these other like kind of just frameworks that people follow to write sales pages, to write emails and webinars even. So they're plugging this technology into those frameworks, but the craziest part of it is that this technology, this open AI technology, like I'm still trying to wrap my head around how it actually works, because it's that it puts the intelligence in artificial intelligence, right? Where it actually goes out and using algorithms, it rewrites. It doesn't just like fill in blanks and follow a framework. It will actually write using whatever algorithms they use. I still don't understand the technology, but it comes out in a very human, very smart voice that, for me personally, I read it and I was like, this is pretty darn good copy, right? And I can put my own finesse on it. Like Anik, you have your own voice, right? Like your own tone, where you might come in and edit it a little bit to be more Anik. But a lot of the underlying pieces of copy, like the argument you make, or even the premise for the debate you're having in the copy itself, AI can do a lot of that stuff now, where I never would have expected it to be able to do that before.
And it's funny that you say, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it too. This is how far I got. There are artificial intelligence engines, everybody out there, right? That are out there gathering just massive amounts of information. So for example, I don't know, actually no clue how this one particular copywriting tool works. We'll dive into it in the webinar, but a couple of the other ones I looked at, it's almost like this. So imagine there's this massive engine that's collecting information from all over, all kinds of topics, not just in the copy world, not just marketing, but it's literally picking up data points for everything it can possibly imagine. It is this massive computer that's eventually going to turn into Terminator and kill us all. But before it does that, we can make some money from it. Yeah, but for now, we can make some money from it. But this thing is gathering all this information, which is where it's getting its feel from, it's getting its understanding. And then what happens is companies can come and plug into it, so that not every single one of us is trying to build that engine, because it would be impossible. We would not have access to the level of information needed. But what they do is they have this massive amount of data that's sitting here that can all cross-connect and interconnect with itself. And then all these other companies are coming in and plugging into it. So like, for example, even at Lurn, as we go out to build the machine learning and artificial intelligence side of our platform in the future, some of it we're going to have to generate our own. We'll have our own data that which we can manipulate. But some of it we're going to be able to plug into these AI databases and pull information out of. So if that made any sense, good for you. Because it almost didn't make any sense as I'm talking about it, but that's how I've understood it.
Yeah, and we could get into the nitty gritty of how it works, but I think both of us are more concerned with what we can do with it.
Absolutely, yeah. That's so true. Yeah, who cares how it works? How am I going to make money from it is what it matters.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's where, and you know, once you kind of use the tool, and this is something that I didn't. It's kind of like, I'm thinking of a good analogy, but it's like until you see it, it's hard to believe it, right? And I want to do, you know, on the webinar we'll do some demos. I think I'm going to even get the founder on for a little bit to show us some cool stuff and maybe give us some more insights. But the what we can do with it has me really excited. You know, I think about that movie Jurassic Park, where the paleontologists have come to the island, and Alan Grant, he says, you know, I think we're extinct, right? Like when he sees the dinosaurs finally, you know, he's the copywriter. But in reality, this isn't getting rid of copywriters in the slightest. Like what it's doing is, for the smart copywriters out there, the smart marketers, they're going to be able to use this tool to greatly, a couple different things, but greatly increase the speed in which they can create things. That was the first thing. My first kind of eureka moment was like, I can do so much more, so much faster, because I'm cutting out a lot of the legwork in the copywriting, which is staring at the blank page and wondering what the heck I'm going to write about, right? And the second thing too is it, beyond just saving us time, it's a good insight generator, if that makes sense. Like it gives you a lot of unique frames of reference that you're not going to, it's like you can spend a lot of time reading a lot, which you should still do, but this thing will spit out things sometimes that I'm like, I never would have thought about looking at it like that. I never would have thought about taking this angle, right? So those are the two areas that I think most entrepreneurs and copywriters and marketers are going to get out of it, beyond even just the nice, neat way that it produces pretty ready to go email and webinar and content pieces.
I actually had this exact reaction / moment with this tool. I put in something, and what came back, like number 3 and number 4, I just remember going, oh, like, wow, I wouldn't even thought of that. That's cool. Like, yeah, I want to put that in here. So even if I'm resurfacing things, you talk about, we always say in copywriting, you know, I just recently did a podcast interview with Todd Skousen, and it's going to wait. It will come out on my eventually new to release copywriting podcast, hint, hint. Got a new podcast coming up. And in this, Todd Skousen actually says like 50%, 60%, 70% of the battle of writing good copy is research, right? Any good copywriter worth their dime. I see you're shaking your head. It's true. Every good copy is research driven. Well, heck, man, if all this tool does is provides me with the research, it just saved me hours, if not days. But it went way beyond that. I mean, I was able to use the output a lot more than I ever imagined. Okay, so where do you see this going? Like you mentioned, you know, the founder of the tool, which is cool. I didn't realize the founder might, maybe, no promises, show up for the webinar. But maybe, do you have some inside knowledge? Like, what are they doing? What's next? Like, is it going to get better? Is it even going to be more freaky? Like, what's going on with this tool?
Yeah. So they've been live for a little over 2.5 months now, I think. And in that time, since I got it about a month in, I was playing around with it for a while. The number of tools, so they have like mini built-in tools, like these little like headline generators and YouTube, you know, script generators. And like, they've got all these, they're up to about 30 now. When I joined, there was about 10. So what they're doing that's really interesting is in their community, they're getting feedback from people like, hey, we want more of this. And then they're creating these tools on top of the technology, plugging them into the system and giving them access to everybody. So that's, to me, something that they're doing that's really cool and unique, because there's quite a few of these different types of tools out there. I've looked at a lot of them, and they're all pretty great. Like there's quite a few. The main difference you want to look at if you're wanting to get in bed with something like this is the team behind it. How much are they investing in it? Is it a fly-by-night thing? Are they putting in the energy to move it forward? And that's what I've seen on their side. They've been doing really well. But I see this, you know, kind of going back to the principle we talked about, like, what can you do with it? And as we'll just say entrepreneurs in general, we all know that story, brand, and content marketing, like, those are the things people are connecting with now. And any tool that we can use to help us do that better and faster, I see as a big win. When I first saw this, one of my gut reactions too was like, is this going to replace the copywriter? And I think definitively we can say no, at least for now. When it does, you know, eventually get so smart that it can come up with premises and make out, you know, make big long poetic landing pages and webinars and stuff, we might be in trouble. But
we'll have a bigger problem at that point, other than, hey, I'm out of a job as a copywriter. At that point, I think I'm just, you know. They'll be making the product, then writing the copy, then launching it themselves, and we won't even have to be bothered anymore, you know. So that's a few years off, I think, but you know, that's a whole other, you know, Terminator discussion. But we got to get Elon Musk on for that one.
Sure. Well, and you've seen it. You've been in the industry a long time. You know, we'll just say internet marketing, but just marketing online in general. And you've seen tools come on and change the game, right? Like even Facebook ads as a tool came on, and guess what is running those ads? It's artificial intelligence, right? The targeting is all, So everything is getting smarter. Our job, I believe, as copywriters, entrepreneurs, is to look at those tools and say, how can we leverage them better? And I know you guys over there at Lurn are just on the forefront of this stuff. And that's, I think, why we even got the discussion going for the most part, was this is something cool. We're both still trying to figure out, you know, how it all integrates and how it all works, but we know something really cool is there. I knew it was nuts when I generated a 2,500 word article in about 15 minutes, and it wasn't half bad. That would have taken me, you know, a couple days, to be honest, on average, to generate on my own, right? Between the research and the development. it's not a perfect system. At the end of that, I went through and I rewrote most of it in my own tone and voice and stuff. But just giving me that foundation was huge.
Yeah. So it's funny because you were talking about tools, what we've used, how we use them, what impact they have. Copywriting is definitely one of those skills that takes some time to learn. You have to understand it. You have to master it. And what happens in a company like Lurn, we're growing so quickly, we can't possibly hire as many copywriters as we possibly need, but they start to be needed on all walks of life. So, hey, we want to do more social media. Great. Who's going to write the posts? Who's going to write the messages? Who's going to write? Oh, wow. Well, if you have anyone do it, that's a problem. If they don't understand anything about copywriting, they're going to miss out a lot. Okay, ads. Oh, buddy, if I'm not the one, we're past the point at Lurn where I'm doing the ads now, right? We have a lot of different brands, a lot of different people. So, okay, great. We need a copywriter for that. We need a copywriter for this. We need a copywriter for that. It gets to be problematic. So here's a funny thing. You don't even know this, Sean. I haven't had a chance to share this with you. So as I was telling the team, I'm all excited. I'm like, hey, we're doing this really awesome webinar where we're going to demo this really killer tool that writes copy. And it actually works. I've looked at it. I'm really impressed. And they're like, oh, what tool is this? And so I tell them which one. And they're like, we've been using that for a month. So Sean did not know this because Sean got me a comped account. And I go on to find out my team has been using it. And we've been paying this tool for a month plus now. And they're using it to write Facebook ads and what they're doing. And I wouldn't have known. I'm seeing my own ads and I have no clue. Hey, you might be watching my ads and have no idea that 90% of the work for that ad was done by this tool. It's so cool to see that. And we actually have like a on-site in the company kind of expert on the tool. So actually I might even get that person to show up on the webinar because we've been using it. And to me, it was such a surprise. One of the best things about being at Lurn and running this company is the brilliant people that I get to work with. They're out there doing amazing things, but just wanted everyone to know it's being used by our company. You've probably seen copy already that was written by it, and it's so good that even I have seen copy that's written by it and never realized for the last month that it's been coming through that tool. So my team was all like, where have you been? Like, we've been, they're like, we've been on this like for a month already. I'm like, wow. All right. Interesting. So I want to kind of wrap this up. Everybody, here's what I want to do. You guys know one thing. I never use this podcast to do something like this where I'm like funneling you into and not giving you any specifics. It's really that cool. I can't give it justice or do it justice on an audio podcast. You've got to come to the webinar where we are going to use it and we will do impromptu. It's not like we're going to plan stuff beforehand. We're going to throw it curveballs. We'll let you participate. Go to lurnworkshop.com, LURN workshop.com/robot. Okay. If you're on YouTube, it's right there. If you're listening on and you're driving or whatever, it'll be in the show notes, or you can go find us on YouTube. Now, the other one is if you kind of want to see how I've created this from more of a promotional side, because I'm not hiding anything. At the end of a very simple webinar, which is not going to have PowerPoints and decks, it's going to be just fun, demo, maybe a few PowerPoints. But we're going to sell you we're going to sell you the tool. We're going to legit be like, you should buy this tool. And you're going to be shocked at how inexpensive it is. And we're going to throw some amazing bonuses at you. And if you don't buy it, you don't buy it. You have a great time on watching what this tool can do. There's also something that's free that you can play with if you show up. That's all I'm going to let you know. But if you want to get behind the scenes and be like, how has Anik planned this as a promotion? How has Anik done this whole thing? Go check out willworkforcars.com. It's a really fun we're having fun with it, right? Because in the end, if you want to make money, have fun while doing it too. So willworkforcars.com, lurnworkshop.com/robot. Sean, it's going to be a fun webinar, man. I'm excited. And by the way, everyone, just so you know, Sean and I are not planning it beforehand. He has no idea the curveballs I'm going to throw his way. And if we get the founder there, then we're going to have a lot of fun. So we'll see how that works out. But Sean, any closing words before we see each other on that webinar?
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up great. We'll have a good time. I mean, that's the beauty of these kinds of tools. Like, you get to see them, and your mind kind of does a lot. We're not going to have to pitch hard at this. Like, once you see what it does in real time, like, we don't have to convince you of its awesomeness. And that's the beautiful thing about technology, and why I get so excited about it. is not just the cool things it does, but the implication of that cool stuff. Because I know copy is not easy. Both of us know that. We've been doing it forever. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this like, yeah, I feel you, man. I've been looking at that blank page for way longer than I'd like to admit. And if you're a solopreneur, you know it's expensive to hire the right kind of people. So we're looking to help those who could use a leg up in that area. Really looking forward to hosting that with you, man. That'll be a lot of fun.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. So everybody, there you go. Last time I'll give you learnworkshop.com/robot. We're going to have a blast. The reason I already said, hey, we're going to pitch you something at the end, because it's not like $1,000 offer or anything crazy. It's so simple, so inexpensive. And it's exactly what Sean said. It's so dang good that you're going to want to buy it anyways. Might as well get a bunch of free bonuses before or alongside it. So learnworkshop.com/robot. Sean, thanks so much. We will see you on that webinar. For everybody else, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, below, if you're on YouTube, make sure you click the thumbs up icon, leave a comment, do all of that fun stuff. And anikpodcast.com for more amazing episodes, and learn.com, LURN.com. Make sure you join the revolution of entrepreneurs coming together to change the world. I will see you on the next one. This is Anik reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, push it the heck back. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.